Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. So I've had a few questions about the Fractal, and I thought, I'd address that today, particularly around what the challenges are of running one of these things. The question in particular I've had a couple times is, what are the challenges of running a modeler? Now, I don't know about other modelers because I've only really used the Fractal. I've had an FM9 for a while now, and then prior to that I had an AX8. So I can talk about the Fractal world, but I think the same things apply to all of them. Now, one thing I hear a lot of people getting wrong with their thinking is they think, the question is like, does it sound like an amp in a room? It's not supposed to. None of these modelers do. That's not the point. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people get wrong, right? So first thing you need to do is think about it as an amp in a room with a microphone in front of it running through a microphone preamp, and it's at that point that it's ready to be recorded or go to the front of house or whatever. As soon as you start thinking that way about it, you change your whole perspective, right? So I thought today, I'll set up a screen record on here and I'll just set up a sound and I'll show you how I do it. Let's dive into it, eh? Okay, so I'm going to set up a sound. I'm going to set up one of my typical sounds that I would use. So this will be based off a Fender Vibrato Lux, they call it in here, sound, and how I do it. So first things first, okay, I'm going to set up a new preset on the FM9 edit. New preset, let's choose one, empty, let's go there. There's nothing there, right? So I'm going to start with this. Now I need to create an input. I'm going to click on here and go in. So input 1, and I need an output. Output 1, my output 1 and 2 are linked, and my output 3 I used to go out to an external amp. Right, so there's an in and an out. And then let's put an amp in the middle somewhere, like here. I'm going to go to amp 1, and I'm going to put a cab here, cabinet, and I'm going to link it all together. Oops. Yep, there we go. And then out of here goes to that one. That's all my different outputs. So I should have sound now. So it's not a sound I particularly like, but it's a starting point, right? So if we go to amp, now I'm always going to run a reverb. So let's put a reverb. I pretty much always have reverb on. So there's my reverb. Let's go gold plate. That's a good one. Something like that. Great. Here we go. Amps. Now for me, like the classic is the Vibrato Lux. It's what I use a lot of the time. So let's go to here, type in Vibrato Lux, that one there. This is what I use a lot of the time. Cabinets wise, I like the Dynacabs. Let's go to the 112 Vibrato Lux. Let's do that. Condenser, I'm more likely to like a dynamic. Now, typically with a dynamic, I like it slightly off center and pretty close. So let's go about there. And then if I'm going to have a second mic, let's go the same cab again. And I'll put a second mic on, a ribbon mic, and usually I like the ribbon mic further back and kind of centered about there. Let's hear what that sounds like. So that works straight off, right? Probably could do with some more volume, so go to your amp, go to your output. Want that to just tickle in the red, so we need a little more level. At the moment you're hearing my microphone as well, but it gives you the idea, right? Now we have a sound. Very usable. Haven't done anything really. One thing I do like to do is go to the dynamics, and I'll just bump that up about 2. That seems to, sorry, let's make that 2. Seems to be something that I like. It makes it feel more open. Great. The other thing too is I almost always get rid of the noise gate. Worst thing you can do is put a noise gate on. If a guitar's noisy, then get it shielded or get it dealt with, but don't use a noise gate. Probably a little bit much bottom end for this guitar, so let's go dial the bass back a touch. Right, I like a delay. Let's put a delay in there. Go stereo tape, that'll do. Way too much. My thing with delays, what I do most of the time is I tend to go this many repeats. It's too many. So a touch less, master feedback, bring that down a little bit. I want 3 repeats is generally what I'm going for. And I don't want them audible. Basically, I want them to blend, but you hear them when I stop. So that's about right. Let's even maybe go down a touch more, 5%. That works pretty quick and easy to get to it, right? Let's put a drive in front of it. So let's call that scene 1, let's call that clean. Scene 2 is going to be the same. Let's call this drive, and let's chuck something in front of it. Let's go, drive pedal do I want? Drive 1, let's go the classic, which I use most of the time, the BB Pre. Let's put a little more gain on that. Let's call that drive. Save. Let's call this quick preset 1. So you see there, like I had a sound pretty quick. I could put other effects and stuff on it, but you can see it's sort of one of those things. And the process of it is really having something in mind. Now, there are a lot of amps in this thing. I don't use them. To be honest, I don't. I don't care if it's got 1,000 amps in there. I don't really care if it's got 1,000 amps in there. Like, for me, what I want is one good one. Right, just like I do on a gig. So like the vibrato Lux is probably the one I use 90% of the time. I've been experimenting a little bit with the Friedman, which is a bit more of an overdriven tone, things like that. But generally I just stick to one or the other. You know, sometimes JTM 45 in there, whatever. But I think the key to it is to not go option overload. Like, what would I like in the real world? You know, I don't really know what a Dumble sounds like, so I don't tend to use the Dumble models. Now I might play with them for a little bit, but I don't tend to, you know, I use Fender amps. That's what I've been doing for most of my career. So the Vibrato Lux, that's the one, that's what I do. And then just work on tweaking that until I get it right. I like tremolo, so I'll put that on. I pretty much play with reverb all the time. I don't like playing without reverb. I find I tend to play all the gaps. But if I don't have reverb on, then I'll just fill it up. But if I do have reverb, I'll let the space. It's just more appealing to your ears because all rooms have space, right? So anyway, that's some of the challenges of it, is just getting your head around it and limiting it to maybe 1 amp or 2 amps at most, because that's all you really need. And then anything else beyond that is just a bonus, right? But one really good amp, and that's kind of what I do. And then presets wise, I just gear them towards the gig. You know, if I've got a gig and they want sort of a British fuzz sound, that's what one of the charts says, well, I'll just kind of add that in to make a new preset, put a British fuzz in front of it, and there's my sound ready to go. I don't really mess with it too much. But I think, like I said, one of the struggles a lot of people have is they're thinking about it the wrong way. They're trying to think of it like an amp in a room. It's not meant to be like that. Think of it as an amp in a room with a microphone in front of it running through a mic preamp, and that'll be much better. If you like what you've seen today, please subscribe. If you want to see some more stuff on the Fractal, I can cover that. That is one unit that I've used for a while now, the FM9. It'd be great. Great to do more of this if you're keen to hear it. And there, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. See you tomorrow. Cheers.